Buenas noches, YouTube. It's me, Tolstoy, doing another video here. Kind of trying again, sway away from electronics, but not for too long, just to do something interesting for Halloween. I kind of screwed you out with Tolstoy's half-assed Halloween, so, you know. Well, this isn't even Halloween-themed, but it's new and different, so I like it. Well, we all know that the greatest weapon in all of existence is the Keyblade. Or is it the Spartan laser? Well, okay, one of those. Anyway, but one of the more commonly revered and talked about weapons in all of nerd culture is the sword, and probably the most referenced one is the mysterious Eastern Katana blade, which I have a mock version of here. This is a wooden bokken, which is a mock sword, and I got this at that same anime festival that I was talking about in the city. And, well, it's not very dangerous. It is kind of blunt. You could probably hit somebody in the head with it, but I thought, you know, it'd be neat. They have a one of those crazy oriental knick-knack shops near us, where I saw for on the cheap, $30, a real, short, ceremonial katana. Okay, so it's not real, not for $30 anyway. The real ones cost like $3,000, and they're actually quite good at cutting, and this is just a replica. It's probably just made for, well, you know, display reasons. Take a look at, I guess, what it's made out of. I guess I can kind of review it like a machine. The steel, ironically, is made in China, but the hilt right here is made of Japanese material. I'm hoping it's not made out of lead, because these days China is, you know, known for poisoning our children with lead paint, and you look at the handle, basically that white stuff underneath there is nothing but crappy plastic wrapped in what looks like shoelaces, and it's got a nice little crappy tin bottom, but of course that's not what I bought it for. You have an interesting design of a Chinese dragon. Personally, I don't respect Eastern dragon design. I like European dragons with wings, because they made more sense, and to me look more ferocious. And on this end, you have symbols. Don't even know what they mean. You may not even see the symbols, because the light is reflecting off of them. In fact, it's so reflective. Shiny. You might not be able to see the blade. The blade isn't actually that strong, or isn't actually that, well, it doesn't feel that sharp, but of course it's not supposed to be very sharp, because of course it's just a decorative piece. It's not really meant for war. Real actual katanas, though, if you know anything about them, and this is what's kind of interesting about this, is that I'm not quite sure of the actual physics, but I think the fact is that the katana was the greatest cutting blade of all time. It was one of the greatest cutting blades of all time, one of the most, you know, and it almost never got dull. A samurai would hardly ever have to actually sharpen his sword. And the reason was that when they made it, they would put clay on the back of it, on the dull end here, and when they cooked it, that was my bokken falling, and when they cooked it in the oven to make it hot for tempering, for some reason the clay would make the back, would insulate the back and make it not heat up, and thus it would stay soft, whereas the front would stay sharp and hard, thus all the impact would be absorbed by the back, which was nice and soft, and all the cutting would be being done by the front. And you would know the reason that's why you were supposed to see these little, you may not be able to see it, but these little zigzag symbols, they're supposed to be on the back, where the clay would have been put on when it was cooked, if it really was a real katana. It's obviously not, but it's a replica, I guess, of a drunken swordsmith's work. Anyway, I thought, you know, what would be interesting to do with one of these would be run some tests, actually, and see that even with a $30 blade, exactly what I could cut. I know a lot of swordmasters can actually cut paper out, like just cut paper, and that is amazing and awesome. You can see those videos on YouTube, and they kick ass. But I want to take some time and see what I could do with a $30 blade. Now, what kind of sucks about this, though, is that you may not be able to hear it, but it's actually a little loose in its hilt, which makes me a mite nervous. That, and I don't like playing with sharp toys that could get me killed. But I'll be brave for your sake. Because, yeah. Alright, so let's run some tests. Alright, here I am in my backyard, my back deck, which is slightly messy at the moment, but regardless here, you can see that I placed a stick in the ground. It's not very well secure, but we're going to see if it'll hold up for this test. Here is the aforementioned blade. Now, as I said, I'm a little cautious about the fact that it kind of wobbles around in its holster, so I'm going to be very careful when I do this. I encourage children not to imitate my actions and stick to eating your Apple razor blades, which are far more safer. Alright. test one. Katana versus stick. Okay. Alright. Take a look at the blade. There doesn't seem to be any damage into the blade, actually. Minus some scuffing. Yeah, maybe it's bent in a little bit, but the blade actually seems to have pulled through. A little bit of a whacking, but take a look at the stick. Here's where I struck the stick. You might not be able to see it, but it is a small, well, little indent. Really, almost no damage. Alright, next test. Okay, as you can see, I have laid out the target horizontally in hopes that I could perhaps damage it, striking it vertically. I've reinforced it, as you can see, with some spare lumber. But what I found out was upon striking it vertically, which looks something like this, I could not do any damage, obviously, and as you can see, the stick is intact. Looking at the stick, you can see pretty much no damage. Where I actually struck it was around there. I don't know if you can... well, you can't really see the scars, or you can't really identify the scars from the rest of the natural damage the wood has taken over time. Taking a look at the blade, there is actually... ooh, shiny! There's actually no damage going down, no real damage going down the edge, but again, that's not saying much. Alright, you're looking at an old pair of shoes that I actually used to wear. These are some desert boots I actually found at Walmart. But as you can see from all my hard work and all those overtime hours, yeah, nice split. That was not actually caused by the blade itself, obviously, but just by wear and tear. So now that I've got my new, what are these things called? Texas Strength, whatever the hell they are, boots, I'm going to see if I can't cut into these. Now, mind you, it's made out of leather, soft leather, but leather nonetheless, which they used to use as armor. So it may not cut into it. Of course, it couldn't cut into wood, but, well, let's give it a shot. Alright, this is almost a joke. Well, one thing I can tell you is you can still use it as an impaler. Okay. Those are some next-door neighbor dogs. Alright, last test, cardboard. Where did he put the blade? Oh. And there you have it. Stabbing looks better than anything else. Yep. Bit of a letdown. Alright, one last target before we go. My PSP. No, I'm not really going to slash at my PSP. Alright. Wrap up this video before it gets any horribly longer and everyone goes home. What can be said about a $30 short katana? Well, as you can see, it's really not good for slashing at all, not like the real katanas. It's way too dull for something like that. And the truth is, the only thing it was good for was stabbing. And let's face it, these swords weren't really made for stabbing. In reality, these swords were actually, any kind of curved sword was considered really poor at stabbing. In fact, the best stabbing sword on record, not on record obviously, but considered by most blade specialists was like something like the Gladius. And in the way of blunt force, really doesn't do much damage. Let's face it, it's not a claymore. And, well, still, it's cool to have, and it's probably just going to end up on my wall as a decorative piece, even though, to tell you the truth, I really identify more with, well, you know, European stuff. I'd rather have a claymore, an Irish or Scottish claymore on my wall than a katana, but still, any nerd likes a good sword and can respect swordsmanship, and then it's obviously not good for a weapon, and that's what I kind of like about it, is the fact that these days swordsmanship is not practiced as a form of war, but instead of meditation and fun. And I guess a lot of people can probably tell from my attitudes towards patriotism, this country, and of course my name on YouTube, Tolstoy, that I am actually a pacifist, and I do not support violence, a war of any kind, no matter how bad you want to justify killing. It's going to stay on my wall. I invite all of you to have a happy Halloween. Am I closing up right now? I'm actually sliding in backwards there. Anyway, have a happy Halloween, and see if you can't hunt down a katana if you were to like one, if you like swords, although again, you all may be like me and you might like claymores. Probably should get one for Christmas. Hint, hint. No, just kidding. Take it easy. Happy Halloween.